Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Saturday's Etsy News. What's happening in the world of Etsy that we need to talk about? As usual, there's quite a bit, and stay to the end for an interesting bug that I really need you all to check out and see if you see as well. Etsy says they're fixing it, but we'll see. Anyway, let's see what's happening. So, firstly, I want to bring up an Etsy shop to watch because everyone seemed to like it when I was bringing up these. And this, we will have a dedicated This Etsy shop digging deep into this one. But I would like to show a mover and shaker that's just appeared for the past few weeks in the top 3 daily top sellers on Etsy. And it's a UK shop, so of course that piqued my interest. But keep an eye out for Silver Rain Silver. And as I say, we'll go into that in depth later. I've actually contacted them to see if they want to actually appear in my video. We'll see if they get back to me. They're very busy. Okay, a few people, by a few I mean a lot, and they've lost their minds over this, and I kind of understand why. Now, is this a title bug on Etsy? If you hadn't noticed, now I'm just picked this Crystal Sleeping Cat, which is adorable, as an example, and you can see in the Etsy search page, it is only showing the title to Crystal Sleeping Cat, but when I clicked on the listing, it has a much longer title: Crystal Sleeping Cat, Gemstone Sleeping Cat, Gemstone Sleeping Cat figurine, healing crystal, home decor, crystal animal, crystal gifts. So it appears that Etsy, for many people, I don't think everybody's seeing this, but most people are seeing this. On the search results page, Etsy's only showing the titles up to the first punctuation, the first comma in this case. I checked because it does seem that all sorts of different punctuations is cutting out. So check with your listings what they look like. Now, a few people have reported this to Etsy and customer support. I don't know, sometimes it's just like they like to just answer questions. So half of them are getting told that this is a bug, other half are getting told, oh, there's nothing wrong, everything looks fine. I'm going to say if this is a bug, this is an oddly specific bug that somebody's had to program in. So I would say Etsy has been saying since 2018 that it wants short titles. And it said, put your most important keyword phrase at the start of your title, separated by a comma. Interesting that Etsy is now showing only the first keyword phrase separated by a comma. I don't think this is a bad thing. Firstly, just because that's what is showing doesn't mean the rest of your title isn't being used for SEO purposes. So everything is still fine there. As far as I can see, nothing's changed. And if you followed Etsy's best practices there, then what's showing as your title is pretty good. It actually makes the search results page look a lot cleaner. When I looked at that item, I was searching for cat because it's a random search. When I looked at that and that popped up and says Crystal Sleeping Cat, I can see at a glance what that item is. Why did Etsy show me it? It totally makes sense. So it makes the search results page look cleaner, because as I've been saying forever, those big run-on titles, keyword stuff titles, look like your Timo, they look like your Wish, they can look a bit cheap. But at the same time, the title's the most important place for keywords, so people were trying to put them in there to get seen in search, so it's totally understandable. Quite a lot of my listings have fairly long titles because they're working and there's no point undoing something that's working. So actually, this is kind of a good thing in my mind, in that Etsy saying, this is what we want stuff to look like. We're not forcing you to make it look like that. We're not forcing you to shorten your titles. We're just going to do it for you. If it's a bug or a test, this might go away, but I would say definitely have a look, experiment with some of your, not necessarily your top selling listings. We don't want to touch them necessarily, but have a look at where one of your lower selling items, a quieter listing is kind of ranking in search for everything. And then experiment with putting the comma into your title at a place where you want your title broken up. So you might be removing a comma, you might be adding a comma. Check it's still ranking in all the same places it was. I'm pretty sure it will be. I'll be testing this as well. So if necessary, you can do a test, make sure it's not going to hurt your listings, and then think about, maybe, what do I want my best-selling listings to look like? If Etsy are going up to the first comma, then we can choose what this is going to look like. So it's up to you, but not going to freak out. They are not taking away any of our SEO stuff in our title for all the rest of these words. It's just what's showing up on the homepage. And I kind of like it, but let me know what you think. It's been a week of people losing their minds. Now, did I not just say last week that the Etsy homepage was looking pretty meh? It was looking pretty unbranded to Etsy. It was looking plain. And now I'm not seeing this personally unless I go in and search in, look at Etsy incognito unlogged in. So that's kind of interesting. But there's now the bright orange banner on top, which I know people are going mad and saying this makes it look like Temu. Etsy did this way before Temu. This is what Etsy used to look like. This is what I thought Etsy looked like still, to be honest, because I don't pay attention. This is Etsy branding. When you look at this, that's the Etsy orange. That's what it looks like. I'm not adverse to this. I get some people are saying it clashes with what their shop looks like. The thing is, your shop is on Etsy, so the Etsy branding is going to be there. It's always been a thing. I'm not sure about this light sort of lilac-y purple underneath. I don't know who said, oh, we've got orange. What goes with orange? Light purple. Interesting. But it is much better that mine just had this kind of faded orange beige stripe at the top, which I absolutely hated. So I think it's better because it gives a strong visual branding. When you scroll down to the bottom, I'm not mad keen on what the bottom seems to be a bit of an assault on my eyes, being blue and then blue and a bit more blue and orange. It's sorry if I blew out the mic there, but it's a bit annoying to say the least. But I'm happy enough. The thing is, Etsy's going to brand for Etsy so that it's striking for people who are coming to Etsy. We brand for our shops. We have our own banner and things. Yes, things might not look great compared to what Etsy's doing. Unfortunately, that's a thing with selling on somebody else's platform. Their branding comes first. Sorry. Yeah, not much I can say about that. Okay, this is kind of a good one. If you haven't noticed, in your listing creator or listing editor, there is this little blue banner. They're warning of their policies. So it's kind of good when people are talking about why is there so much policy rule breaking stuff on Etsy, and the innocent customers, sellers, the innocent sellers who actually didn't know they weren't allowed to sell the thing they're selling. I mean, read the rules, but it's easy. We've all done it. I've tried to sell stuff I wasn't allowed to. We make mistakes. So at the top of the listing editor now, there is a little banner saying, Etsy is a place for unique and creative goods. Our policies help us protect what's special about sellers' items. Make sure your item can be sold on our marketplace. Don't use stock images or other photos you found on the internet. Keep in mind, if you don't follow our policies, we may need to remove your listings and star seller badges or suspend your account, and a link to the policies. So it's kind of good. I know bad people going to keep badding. They don't care, and a lot of people won't notice it, but it is good they're at least going, hey, check it's actually legal to sell. So yeah. Whatever. And the final one that I think most of you will be here for is Etsy shadow banning things. Now, okay, I have permission from the shop owner I first saw this to show their shop and things, but I'm actually not going to just now. Basically because YouTube's a bit annoyed about frisky things as well. But I'll explain the best I can without offending anyone. If you have littles present, possibly move them out of the room so they don't ask questions about some of the words I might be using. But anyway, there's some adult shops that seem to be kind of hidden in search for the more vanilla search terms. So I'll explain here is I've only seen this. I've done a fair bit of searching since I heard about this one shop, and it seems to be BDSM and adult toy type related shops. And what it is, the way we're seeing when we go into their shops and you try and do a search in their shops, things aren't showing up. So, the search there is to help you, like, okay, I have a section in my shop for bookmarks, but if people come to my shop and they don't know about sections and they want to filter, find everything that's a bookmark, they would type in bookmarks and it uses my SEO to pull up everything that it thinks is bookmarks. Now, these shops noticed, I think one of the customers got in contact with the shop to say, when I was in your shop and I searched for bracelets, nothing's coming up. And it totally should be coming up. So I went and had a look as well. And absolutely, so there is items that are clearly saying it's a bracelet. Good number of them in the shop. But when you use the search in their own shop, that is not coming up under bracelet. So initially I thought the shops had been de-indexed. This happens. Sometimes they're basically kicked out of the search for whatever reason. This can be a thing if you've had too many orders and Etsy decides you've had too many orders to cope with. It kicks you out of search so you can catch up. We won't talk about what anybody thinks about that just now, but that's the thing. Etsy is able to de-index people. So I thought, there we go, figured it out. You've been de-indexed. Tell Etsy they've got to index you. But they did say they were showing up for some things. So my spidey senses did a little tingle. And I searched for BDSM bracelet in their shop. And all the items came up that should come up for bracelet. Because if it's a BDSM bracelet, if the SEO is good for that, it's also good for bracelet. So that was weird. How are they coming up for the more long-tailed search, but nothing's coming up in their own shop? This is not competing against other listings. So I went and found some more BDSM shops. So my search history is going to be fun. But I went and had a look, and the same thing, looking for terms like necklace or bracelet. None of these people's items are showing up in their shop, searching in their shop. But if you then extend any other query that's clearly adult in nature, that everything is showing up. So I don't know. Now, the person that I spoke to, they've said they've contacted Etsy and they're not getting a whole lot of joy. I contacted Etsy. I don't have any special contacts at the moment, but I'm a very annoying person. And I know. Now, whenever you're talking to customer support, don't be mean to them, but be aware that they probably don't have all the information that they should. So you sort of have to keep repeating yourself. So I contacted them. And in this case, I contacted them as a customer. Why not? It's not my shop. And I said, I think something might be off with the search filter in some people's shops. And I gave them some examples and they came back and said, I checked the shop. Everything seems to be fine. I was like, wasn't just one shop I sent you, and I sent them screenshots. When I search for this happens. When I search for this happens. This shouldn't be the case. And so that I did get I have reviewed this and it looks like a technical issue from our end. They're supposed to be getting someone back to me. I think 90% of the time Etsy does get back to me. I held off recording this video in case they did get back to me, but they haven't yet. But this is one I think everybody should check their shop. Check and see if when you go to your shop homepage and you search for terms that should be in your shop, if you make bookmarks, if you make cups, whatever, search for the individual things, make sure you're showing up for them. And if you're not showing up for them, put in more long tail keywords that describe your items as well and see if you're showing up. As a customer, pop into some other shops, see if you're seeing an issue. Right, I'm going to here we're gonna go with the tinfoil hat. I don't know what that is, but the tinfoil hat things. I have a wondering if, because people have been losing their minds when they search for something and on the front page, if they search for a bracelet and up comes a BDSM bracelet, people are losing their minds. Firstly, shops are allowed to sell this kind of stuff. It's not against Etsy rules. They should not have very explicit first pictures. Everything should be a bit vanilla, but a bracelet or something is pretty vanilla, so that's perfectly acceptable. But people are going mad now. If a shop's showing the wrong first image, if you're supposed to blur it out, say mature, or show something that everybody can see, that's not going to scare the kiddies. So if people are doing the wrong thing, then absolutely that's not right and should be taken down. That's against the rules. But I'm wondering if, because people are losing their mind, that every kind of thing that they don't want to see is there at all, Etsy might be, this is just my speculation, but Etsy might be almost shadow banning. So these adult shops are not to show up for vanilla keywords. Now, this I will explain quickly because I know it is a worry. As far as I can see, it's not hurting the ranking power for any other thing. So the ranking power for bracelet, wherever you would have ranked for bracelet, is gone. You're not showing up for bracelet. But wherever you would have shown up for BDSM bracelet, you're still ranking at the exact same place for that. That's two totally different search terms. So I will say that most people, well, most shops anyway, are not going to show up for these more broad keywords like bracelet, necklace, something like that. And it's very unlikely that this type of item would have shown up on the front page anyway, because when someone's searching for a bracelet, that's not the specific kind of thing they're searching for. So if they saw it in search, they wouldn't have clicked on it anyway. So the ranking would have gone down. Very unlikely you would have ranked for something like that. The front page of a jewelry type search is going to be fairly generic type jewelry stuff, the stuff that appeals to the masses. It's not going to be niche stuff. So it's more likely, if you have a niche, you want to be appealing to the niche keywords. So it's not actually hurting your shop, but it is hurting it in terms of when people go to your shop, they need to be able to search for these things, narrow down. People like to be able to group everything together and see the things that they're interested in. And shadow banning isn't quite the right term, but it kind of is. They're stopping you being seen for something without telling you. I think it would be important, if Etsy's doing a thing like this, that they let us know that this thing isn't, you're not going to be shown for this kind of thing. It's only fair because everybody pays the same 20 cents. Oh, my chair's making some horrible noises. Anyway, that's my thing. Check your shop, check within your shop, check within your friend's shop. Make sure it's not just for adult things. And if it is for adult things, also, let's contact Etsy and ask them, hey, this is a weird thing. Can you look into it? And at least they can tell us what's going on, because it makes it difficult for shops to know how to run themselves as shops if they're not even being told, but they're in a different playing field in that some shops are allowed to be shown for some keywords, some shops aren't. At least if you knew you're not allowed to be shown for that type of keyword. Do you know? Let me know what you guys think. I'm going off on one here. But anyway, that's it. That is it for another week. Unless I've missed anything, let me know in the comments below. And yes, see you next week.